Now visualize this fashion week in Paris. Anticipation permeates the atmosphere. Fashionistas are swarming the streets. Meghan Markle is poised to regain her position as a style icon somewhere in the midst of all that amazing drama. However, things didn't exactly go as planned. I overheard tales and whispers that spread more quickly than the newest high-end purse. Meghan's attempts to win over the fashion elite appear to have failed. After Balenciaga, yes, the Balenciaga, allegedly removed her identity from their internal systems, things became really intriguing. Poof, gone, like if she had never been. Can you imagine how blatantly cold and outrageous that would be? Relocate? Let's go back a little before we get into the juicy facts. Since leaving her royal duties, Meghan has been attempting to establish a new identity for herself. She is undoubtedly charismatic and well-known on Netflix, but high fashion is a whole other animal. It is a world of ruthless competitiveness, fragile egos, and unwritten norms. Being renowned is insufficient. The game is a must-play. Meghan apparently misjudged the game. According to sources, she had very high expectations going into Paris, picturing magazine covers, high-end agreements, and a partnership that would solidify her position as a major force in fashion. She desired to be the talk of the town and the designer's favorite. However, she was rudely awakened. Because she was demanding, pushing her own vision, and not exactly being a team player, the whisper began with arguments during meetings and fittings. Celebrities frequently offer their opinions, but it seems that Meghan's requests offended some people. Tension permeated vendor meetings and runway rehearsals, and there were whispers of last-minute changes and disputes over lighting. According to one insider, when the changes weren't finished to her satisfaction, she even left a crucial dress misaligned at the last minute. It is a power move, and these have the potential to go horribly wrong in the delicate world of fashion. Then Balenciaga dropped the bombshell, erasing her name nonetheless. It's more than simply a snub. A declaration of war is what that is. It is an industry-wide message. We've had enough of Meghan Markle. And the explanations are even more fascinating. Was it just a personality conflict? Did she go beyond her limits? Or was there another factor at work? Some claim that a certain creative director at Balenciaga had a past relationship with a member of Meghan's inner circle, causing a long-standing animosity against the exterior. Given how well-known fashion firms are for their complex networks of connections and rivalries, Meghan may have unintentionally entered an already existing dispute. The repercussions from Balenciaga had a cascading impact, regardless of the cause. All of a sudden, invitations were withdrawn, meetings were cancelled, and brands that had previously expressed interest began to back off. They all seem to have decided to disassociate themselves from the Meghan Markle brand, almost in unison. Her ambitious plan for a comeback was suddenly falling apart in front of her. Well, she thought Paris would throw a lavish party and show her the type of attention she had grown used to. Rather, she discovered that she was marginalized, an outsider who was once a possible ambassador. She even became clearly unhappy when she wasn't seated in the first row at one of the main concerts, according to a PR professional. It had nothing to do with acknowledgement. It came down to setting priorities. Fashion houses were apprehensive. Whether it was earned or not, her reputation had become polarizing. While some brands feared the controversy that seemed to follow her like a shadow, others coveted the attention she brought. Perception is what Uncle Paris feeds on, and Meghan's perception had changed. Brands desired a tale that wouldn't overwhelm theirs, one that was less contentious and safer. Her team attempted to position her as a symbol of female empowerment and the new face of resilience. However, it was not accepted by the brands. As the story unfolded in the newspapers, they witnessed a royal soap opera. They desired inspiration rather than fatigue. We are going to sing. The last punch came from Balenciaga. Her golden ticket, the alliance that would validate her in the eyes of the fashion elite, was meant to be that connection. However, the brand felt she wasn't worth the hassle, as rumors of attitude issues and creative conflicts started to circulate. Rather than negotiate in private, they broke off all contact. Then everything fell apart. No one answered the phones. Emails were politely but firmly dismissed. At events, she appeared to be ignored by photographers. From being courted, she had now been fired. To put it plainly, one insider said, the city of Paris rolled up the rug, contrary to Meghan's expectations. She departed early, omitting a number of scheduled appearances. According to some, she criticized her team for not protecting her reputation. She accused the fashion elites of being scared or envious of her star status, according to whispers from others. However, the reality was that the industry didn't bite, that's all. And it was the most painful part. During Paris Fashion Week, celebrities formed deals worth millions of dollars, transforming their image into revenue. Despite Meghan's royal charm and Netflix celebrity, the brands weren't interested in her offerings. They observed a degree of weariness, dispute, and unpredictability that was inconsistent with their brand image. According to several insiders, her strategy seemed overly transactional. She wasn't establishing connections. Checks were what she was after. Executives in the fashion industry noticed. They believed she was there to profit, rather than to work with them. In Paris, where subtlety and nuance are valued, that kind of intensity is not resonant. It backfired because Meghan was playing it loudly. She allegedly became increasingly aloof as the chance passed, missing meetings and calling off interviews. The enchantment was gone. The last few days of Fashion Week were bleak. Meghan appeared uncomfortable as she left her hotel, snarling at help and dodging the cameras. She appeared defeated for someone who had come to regain her star power. It became evident by the end of her stay. With no endorsements, no partnerships, and no new allies, Meghan Markle departed Paris. Her fashion network had quietly shut down. Fashion people talk, and the industry moves quickly. After Balenciaga took the initiative, others did the same. Particularly when it comes to controversy that makes news for the wrong reasons, brands do not want to be linked to it. Nobody wanted to be the next big story, and Meghan's presence became dangerous. What will happen to Meghan next? Definitely a pivot. She is too aware of the media to remain silent for too long. We'll anticipate that her team will turn this into a story about overcoming rejection, resiliency, and female empowerment. They will present it as a teaching moment, a necessary setback in the road. However, the reality is known by those who were present. Empowerment didn't work for her. It was expected. She thought she was a worldwide celebrity and expected to be treated as such. However, that was not Paris's perception of her. They observed a woman making an excessive effort to blend in with a space that had already evolved. The elite in fashion have limited attention spans. They are drawn to the novel rather than the well-known. But it's not over yet. Even in the face of adversity, Meghan has a talent for reinventing herself. For now, though, Paris messaged her. One cannot demand influence. You have to earn it. Furthermore, it's not personal when your contacts start avoiding you. It's business. She didn't leave Paris in style or with a triumph. It was bruised and bitter and quiet. She walked out of town. When she realized that the authority she believed she possessed no longer held the same weight there, she began to worship her kind. Additionally, according to insiders, she remained silent while her plane took off that evening. Silent yet furious. She lost more than one check. She lost a group of people she longed to join. Paris didn't simply turn her away, though. It made her realize that nobody, not even a duchess, is loyal to fashion and fame. The sound of the private aircraft engines roaring through the night sky over Paris was the only sound to break the oppressive quiet. With the city lights fading into indistinct gold streaks, Meghan gazed out the window. Seeing the storm building inside, her staff remained respectfully apart, wearing fancy clothes and makeup unaltered. Despite feeling anything but stylish, she was the epitome of high fashion. Damage control mode was activated back in LA. In darkly lit conference rooms, image consultants, crisis managers, and PR strategists gathered to discuss methods to turn the tide. The story, however, had to be turned over. Meghan could not be described as a social climber who was rejected. She had to fall prey to a vicious system. A powerful lady confronting an antiquated institution. Blunting tales of empowerment and resiliency was the first step. Meghan was portrayed as a trailblazer whose ideas were just too radical for the conservative fashion industry, according to Coast leaks to sympathetic media sources. She was depicted as someone who was punished for daring to question the established quo. Subtle jabs against Balenciaga followed. The brand's recent troubles were alluded to by insiders. It struggles to remain current and prioritizes shock value above true artistic ability. It was an obvious message. For them, Meghan was too good. Balenciaga wasn't necessary for her. It was Balenciaga's need. Meanwhile, Meghan withdrew to her Montecito estate, where she found comfort in yoga, meditation, and spending time with her loved ones. Despite the chaos, she appeared calm and grounded in the well-planned paparazzi photos, exuding inner peace. The story was changing. Meghan was putting the drama aside and concentrating on the important things. However, behind the scenes, the resentment grew. Paris was humiliated, the fashion elite rejected them, the sensation of being utilized and then thrown away. All of this stoked a thirst for retribution. When her reputation was on the line, Meghan was not one to back down from a battle. A new endeavor started to take shape. Her own fashion brand. This would be more than just another collection supported by celebrities. It would be a proclamation, an independence declaration. From the erratic world of high fashion, Meghan would create clothing that reflected her own ideals and vision, while being affordable, eco-friendly, and powerful. She put together a group of gifted young designers, sourced morally sound materials, and prioritized diversity and inclusivity. This has nothing to do with following trends. Making a brand that represented something was the goal. She gave the project everything she had, determined to demonstrate that she could achieve without Paris's blessing.